In this world, there are labyrinths with monsters, and those who dare to conquer them are called conquerors. There are certified conquerors who graduated from Conqueror Academy, and those who are self-taught and didn't attend. Those who did not gain admission to the academy due to no financial power and forged a path of their own became targets of scorn, discrimination, and ridicule. This is a tale of a boy brimming with untold power, rising as a self-made conqueror. In the mountains, there is a labyrinth that serves Luke's home. Luke is a 15-year-old boy who has just achieved victory by summoning his floating status screen for the first time. The status screen shows how strong his magic ability is by measuring it through numbers. He laughs at himself for struggling so much for simply making his status appear. Now he is happy that means he can finally take the entrance exam for the Conqueror Academy. He explains that the Conqueror Academy is a school dedicated to forging the finest conquerors. To pass, he must not fail the test of status magic, the written exam, and practical skills. He tells his tale of setting his sights on going to the academy, since his beloved conqueror parents did not come home one day. When he was 10 years old, he cried, blaming himself for not being strong enough to search for his parents. One day, a monster who got away from the nearby labyrinth pushed him to the bookshelves of his house. He fell with his father's book raining down on him. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise as he found the book called The Path to Becoming a Conqueror. He realized that if he became a conqueror, he would be able to find his parents and support himself with earnings. Since then, he trained his magic by facing the monsters in the nearby labyrinth, determined to get stronger. 5 years later, he finally earned enough gold to journey and try out for the academy. For the long journey, he carries a cartoonishly huge amount of luggage on his back. Despite the weight of his belongings, he is confident that he can reach the city in an hour by sprinting. With the mountains as the view, he declares his journey with the academy is about to begin. His sprinting turns out to be so fast that trees and animals in his way get trampled in his path, scaring the witnessing animals. Meanwhile, in the city, a crowd are cheering for someone they deem amazing. It turns out they are cheering for the boy from the noble family Fastener, and how he is casting incredible fire magic on his palm. Fastener relishes in their praise. He declares to them that it is just normal for him to be the top-ranking conqueror one day. Everyone goes crazy over his declaration, with many calling him a genius and girls falling for him. Fastener thinks that he will become a legend this day with his debut in the examination hall in the academy, not realizing that the crowd are already looking at Luke, alarmed by his distractingly large amount of luggage. Luke asks Fastener if he can point him in the direction of the Conqueror Academy. Fastener sees the cartoonishly large luggage he is carrying and gets shocked. He discovers that there are leaves on his luggage he has never seen before, and it makes the noble boy wonder where he came from. He points him in the direction of the academy. He, however, warns him that he will fail. Fastener remembers all the elite training he went through just to pass the tests in the academy and tells him that it will not be easy. Luke thinks about his warning and thinks he should still take the entrance exam. He tells him that he needs to become a conqueror to find his parents. He declares that he needs to pass on his first try, otherwise he can't afford a second attempt. The crowd all looks at him like he is crazy for thinking he can do it. Luke realizes the atmosphere has changed, and he wonders if he said something strange. He tells Fastener that he will still take the exam no matter what anyone says. To thank him for his advice and directions, Luke offers the rich kid a big fish hanging on his bag. Fastener is disgusted by the fish and does not want to accept it. Luke goes on his way, thinking Fastener is a kind-hearted fellow who not only showed him who the academy is but also refused to be thanked. With Luke gone, Fastener and the crowd all wonder who that strange boy they had just met was. The boy heads to the Conqueror Academy. It is a prestigious-looking university with a large campus. He is in the venue classroom for the status exam, where there are many others taking the test with him. The proctor instructs everyone to fill in their status on the status sheet. Luke summons his status shear and puts down the numbers he sees there. One boy comments on how beautiful their proctor is. The result is that he is tied up by the proctor for talking during the test. The proctor collects the test sheet, including Luke's. The suspicious proctor asks Luke if everything he listed down is correct. The boy tells her there are no errors. He feels weird talking to her so casually when he is used to using honorifics when addressing those in authority in the countryside. The proctor keeps looking at his paper, and then leaves. The way she was acting makes Luke think she wanted to say something. The time for the written exam has come. It makes the boy reminisce about all his hard work mastering magic, both academically and in practical training. He feels nervous as he writes on his paper. Later, Luke and many others head to the practice hall, where there are target boards for the practical exam, and the examiner introduces himself as Swallowed to the participants. The participants are all scared of their examiner, hearing that it is very rare for him to pass anyone. Swallow instructs everyone to hit the 5 targets from 20 meters away with their magic, and that they can only cast 5 times. The participants get nervous, knowing that even casting a spell takes a toll on them. One of them can only cast a fireball so small that he knows it will disappear before he can even hit the targets. Phasmer, on the other hand, goes to the field without an ounce of fear. He revels in the attention as he tells the others to learn from his genius. He cast a fireball on his hand with a blazing intensity that shocked the crowd. He aims for the targets, hitting 2 of them in a row. He misses 2 more attempts, but hits another target with his last one. The participants are all shocked at his accuracy and can't believe he is just taking the test like them. Swallow records the 3 hits and is impressed. The exam goes on, with many making their attempts. Swallow looks at his scoreboard and is disappointed that the performances of this year's test takers have not been great aside from Phasmer. It is Luke's turn, and he asks the instructor if he can use a spell aside from Fireball. Swallow warns him that Fireball is the best bet to use as a beginner. He, however, tells him he can use any spell he wants, with the caveat that he can't blame him if he misses. Luke takes note that no matter how powerful his attack is, it will be pointless if he misses. As Swallow writes on his board, he suddenly feels the breeze changing. He looks and sees that Luke has just summoned a giant vortex of darkness that is affecting the air. He and the other participants are shocked and scared of what will happen. Luke concentrates as he charges his spell. Meanwhile, Swallow and the others are watching in horror. Luke then releases a beam of awesome energy he unleashes on the target. Swallow and the others have their mouths hanging open at the spectacle. A powerful explosion hits the targets, shattering them all at the same time, the impact of which pushes everyone away. The result is that the target board disappears, but so does everything behind it, making it seem like the landmass has been changed by the trail of the meteor impact. Everyone is silenced by the power. Swallow screams at the boy for making such a powerful blast. Luke just gets confused, as if he does not know he is not ordinary. Again, the examiner demands he tell him what he just did. The boy does not understand as he answers that he just cast a simple spell. The teacher yells at him for being so powerful. With a sweating face, he tells him he does not need to do the other 4 rounds anymore. Swallow informs him that the goal of the test was to test his accuracy by hitting the targets 5 times. Luke becomes down, realizing he made a huge mistake. The boy tells the examiner that he thought the instruction was to destroy the targets as quickly as possible. This makes the examiner laugh out loud. He tells him that he has incredible potential. The next day, many participants head to the results board for the results announcement. Phasmer is all smug, seeing that he passed with flying colors. He sees Luke trying to push through the crowd to see his results on the board. Phasmer comes to believe that he is the only one as awesome as him and wants to give him a shout. He grabs his attention, yet Luke does not even remember who he is. Phasmer believes that there is no way he did not pass his exam. He recognizes Luke as his rival and wants to shake his hand. Luke tells him it is too early as he has not seen his results yet since there are too many people blocking his way. The moment everyone realized Phasmer was in the place, they crowded him, making it easier for Luke to get to the board. His whole world darkened. He is shocked to see the results. Flash forward to later. He is in the Conqueror's Guild and is blanking out while the receptionist is talking to him. She asks him if he is okay. She understands what he must be going through. She warns him that being a rogue conqueror will be hard and that he must stay strong through it all. The sad boy just replies that she is right. Rejected from the Conqueror's Academy, Luke finds himself in the guild, trying to get a registry form from the receptionist. He can't believe that he finds himself being a rogue conqueror. It scares him that his future seems like a mystery. Yesterday, when he checked his results at the acceptance board venue of the academy, the results said that he did not pass because he did not know how to use status magic. What bothers him is that he does not know what status magic is. Swallow informs him that status magic is the ranking of magic from the alphabet from the letter I, which is the lowest type of magic, to S, which is the highest type of magic. He tells the boy that he answered numbers at the test instead of writing down the letters. It would not have been a big deal if it wasn't for the other thing. When his test paper was put into the machine, the results only showed the letter SS, a letter ranking that did not exist. Swallow says this never happened before. Luke fears what this means. Swallow continues that it was determined that he has no knowledge of status magic, making the boy wonder what out of the ordinary magic he learned all his life. Aside from that, the mentor informs him that his written exam score was also low. This only leads Luke to be even more down. Swallow asks him what he answered in the question asking what he would do if he faced a formidable foe. Luke remembers that he answered that he would use the terrain as cover and target a monster's blind spot so he could defeat it as he does daily when fighting monsters in the mountains. Swallow determines that the right answer should be to run. This confuses the lad. The mentor informs him that his answer should be reserved for advanced conquerors, so the proctor dismisses it since he is only a newbie. Swallow assures him that he can try the academy again next time and doubts that he would fail if he learned status magic. Luke takes his words to heart and thanks him for telling him why he failed. Swallow tells him that it is not over yet, and that he definitely has the potential to become a top-notch conqueror. He smacks him on the shoulder out of endearment and tells him to give it his all next time. It gives the boy the motivation to pass next time. Since he put a fortune into getting into the academy, he no longer has money, and he needs a means to make a living until he needs to take the academy exam again. Because of this, he finds himself in the guild in the city of Lunar to register as a self-thought conqueror. This brings him to the present at the guild, where the receptionist named Erin is warning him to be careful in the labyrinths. The way she talks makes Luke feel that being a rogue conqueror is truly dangerous. The boy tells her that he is eager to start a quest as soon as possible. Erin looks at his registration form to see what kind of quest she can give him. She reviews that rogue conquerors lack the trust of clients because they did not graduate from the academy and must start at rank F. She is finding it hard to find a quest for him since he is currently at F rank and has no party affiliation. She presents to him the only quest available for his stature. He looks closely at the quest form, and he sees that it is a stake removal quest in a C-rank labyrinth. He explains that labyrinths usually have spiked objects known as labyrinth stakes, and that pulling them out off the ground stops the flow of monsters from reappearing. Once a monster slaying request is done, there are people who are tasked with removing the stakes left behind inside the labyrinth, something he calls unremarkable work. Erin informs him that the reward is only 5,000 gold, and since it is a C-rank labyrinth, the risk is relatively high. Despite the low reward, the boy takes it. He tells himself that he needs to accept bad jobs for now so he can take better jobs in the future. Before he leaves, Erin makes a bicep pose to tell him good luck. Luke does the same back to her. The next day, Luke meets up with other conquerors at the dungeon entrance. The leader of the stake pullers takes note that 5 of them took the job. The 4 of them are ranked higher than Luke, with the leader being the highest at D rank. The vice leader informs the others that the main monster-slaying party will conquer the labyrinth, while they will follow after to pick up the stakes left behind. To them, the main party members are like gods they could never hope to be like. One girl in the group thinks they should always stick to cheap jobs since they don't even have the same gear as higher-ranked conquerors. Meanwhile, the leaders are looking at their roster list. They are shocked to see that not only is Luke a rogue conqueror, but that he is only an F rank. It makes them all look down on him and warn him of the danger. Luke just takes it, thinking he deserves it. The leader wants him not to be a burden to the others. The boy tells himself that he should just take all of their words since the reward money would not change based on their respect anyway. Now that it has been 30 minutes since the main party took off, they plan to go inside. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon tunnels, the main party are battling dragons. With their organized formation, they are able to defeat them all. The deputy leader shares his worries with their leader that the dungeon turned out to be more difficult than expected. The leader agrees that the dungeon is turning out to be more difficult than the usual C rank, but believes they should keep moving forwards since they are already at the gate of the boss. The deputy is worried and thinks they should retreat. On the other hand, the leader is confident they can face anything and that it is too late to back down now. He lifts the mood of his entire party as he tells them that their reward is just right in front of them. He assures the man that they will succeed. Despite this, the deputy leader is still scared. As they look at the giant gate, the deputy swears that he will follow his leader no matter what. Meanwhile, the stake puller party are also in the dungeon, but are still far away from the main force. Luke is carrying most of the stakes they already have so far on his back basket. They see another stake, so they order Luke to pick it up. Despite him doing most of the work, they still find time to tell him that he is useless. The boy just tells himself to take it since all he wants is the reward from the stakes anyway. They are so bored with the work and plan to let Luke handle the rest. Luke suddenly hears a voice. He ponders if it is some monster coming their way. He warns the group that something's coming. The leader thinks he is being silly, believing that the main party has already taken care of the monsters by now. Another one of them thinks highly of the main party's scouting ability and thinks what he's saying is impossible. Despite their assurance, Luke still senses something off. He tells the others that if the main party already conquered the labyrinth, then they should have crossed paths with them by now. The vice leader suddenly screams. It turns out that a wolf monster is sprinting towards them from the darkness. Aside from Luke, everyone panics. They know that none of them under D rank can face such a beast. Everyone runs for their lives. They run, but the beast is just too fast. They know that it will only be a matter of time until it catches up to them. The vice leader suggests that one of them needs to make the ultimate sacrifice. All of them look to Luke, making him conscious. Again, he tells himself he's just some F-rank rogue conqueror. The leader apologizes to Luke and tells him that he has himself to blame for being only a rogue conqueror. He elbows him in the stomach, making the boy fall. Just as he falls, the others continue their running away. The boy has no time to think about the betrayal, as the wolf is already almost next to him. He puts down his box of stakes to get ready for a fight. He jumps up with such agility that he steps on the wall, and then leaps farther into the air, all while analyzing the monster's position and his opening for an attack. In midair, he summons a magic circle. Despite the battle, all he can think of is that his comrades abandoned him, and that he would not even be rewarded for slaying monsters, since it's not the quest he signed up for. He summons a fireball, all while having a sad face of regret about how his first job is going. The wolf gets burned to the point of being black all over. Despite the win, the achievement means nothing to the boy, who is more distracted by the aroma coming from the animal. He ponders if he should just retreat. He changes his mind since he won't get any reward if he gets out of the labyrinth without any stakes. He sees all the baskets left behind by his group mates on the ground and makes it an opportunity to take it all for himself. He puts the stakes in a portal that leads to another dimension. It is explained to be an item box, a spell for storing items into another dimension, with how many it can store depending on the magic prowess of the user. He remembers how his group mates mocked him for using an item box spell when he could carry more stakes in a basket. He just wants to finish the job and leave. He goes in front of the main boss's gate. To him, the gate looks dark and ominous. He tries to open it, but it is too heavy. He instead casts a fireball. The result is that the gate gets broken off its hinges. He looks inside. It turns out that everyone from the main party are all bruised up and are lying lifeless on the ground. Luke wonders if he just blew them away when he destroyed the gate, ignorant that there is a giant wolf bigger than a bus behind him. Luke notices the giant wolf monster right behind him and figures it must be the labyrinth's boss. One of the main party members is trapped in the wolf's mouth and screams at the rogue conqueror to run. It's so massive that 1 foot is enough to crush Luke like a spider. He tells the party member that he will save him and then thinks back to how he answered the question of how to deal with a fierce opponent. The answer that the examiner gave was to run away. The monster's speed is way faster than his, meaning there is no way to escape. 7 high-rank conquerors couldn't even last 5 minutes, so he concludes a low rank like him is no match. The wolf chomps the man in his mouth, splitting his body as Luke looks on. It then lets out a primal roar and rushes at its next target. The rogue conqueror knows he needs to dance around it. He sees the attack coming and easily avoids the pause, causing him to wonder if the monster did a slow punch on purpose. In fact, he is surprised that the wolf seems so sluggish. Still, he mustn't let his guard down and casts a fireball on the ceiling, causing a torrent of rubble to rain on the wolf, burying it in rocks. It is able to free its head but is unable to free the rest of its body. Luke continues to be surprised at how effective his attacks are against it. He then moves in front of the monster and casts another fireball. It is a direct hit, killing the wolf. The explosion is so strong it causes a shockwave that reverberates around the entire room. Luke doesn't realize the fight is over and is trying to think of what his next move will be. He casts another spell, which struck the now lifeless husk of the wolf. He then moves closer to take a look and is surprised to see that the monster is already dead. He picks up a rock and pokes the corpse multiple times to make sure. He then jumps on the body before finally accepting the fact that he won the fight. Luke can't believe it because it was easy compared to the steel-colored slime that popped up in front of his house every day. Sometime later, back in the Lunarch Guild, Luke is heading inside. He figures a C-rank boss couldn't be that weak, and so he probably just got lucky. Inside, the leader of the stake removal party is telling Aaron that they were ambushed by monsters and barely escaped. Aaron replies that the main party hasn't returned either. The leader adds that Luke bravely shielded them, allowing them to escape. The rogue conqueror remembers how they made the bait and then speaks to the group instead. They are so shocked to see the boy that they think he is a ghost. The vice leader asks how on earth he survived. Luke tells them what happened, but they all laugh and can't believe he defeated the boss. They wonder if it is a sick joke and if he has lost his mind. They say newbies like them could never pull that off, while Aaron looks on with a worried expression. Luke wonders if it is really hard to believe, then takes out his item box. He then shows them the huge labyrinth stake that he found in the boss's chamber. The stake pullers look on in visible disbelief. The leader takes it in his hand, as he has never seen anything like that before. They also doubt that his item box could hold so many items, leading them to suspect it might be a fake. Aaron moves closer to check the authenticity of the item and announces that everything is real. The team leader then playfully elbows Luke in the face, saying he should have said how impressive he was from the start. This reminds him of the first time he struck him in the labyrinth. A figure then arrives in the room and asks what the commotion is all about. It is Harrigan, the guild master, accompanied by Loa, the vice guild master. We move to the main office of the guild, where Luke is now explaining to the leaders what happened in the labyrinth. They do not believe his story. Loa theorizes that the party defeated the labyrinth boss, then fell into a trap, and were wiped out in their weakened state. Harrigan shoots a suspicious look and tells Luke to tell the truth. He adds that they are not easily fooled. The rogue conqueror replies that he was only there for the stakes and the reward wouldn't be any different even if he took down the boss, so there is no reason for him to lie. Harrigan is still filled with doubt, saying killing is not justified even if there is a profit. He seems momentarily amused at his own wisdom and turns stern once more, as he continues to question Luke, who is starting to sweat with worry. Erin then puts her hand up and says that he recently flunked the entrance exam and that she can't imagine him trapping a high-ranking conqueror. In other words, he is too inexperienced to pull something like that off. Luke calls that a nice save, and then says that he will prove his worth if given the chance. Harrigan pounds his fist at the table and tells the rogue to stay silent. He decides he will deliberate with the guild's upper management, and that in the meantime, Luke is to remain at the facility. Later that night, the rogue conqueror is sitting by the window, wondering what his fate will be the next day. At the upper echelons guild meeting, the members are seated in front of a round table. They all can't believe Luke's explanation, especially the part about the party being wiped out in a C-rank dungeon. They conclude that it was the petty act of a rogue who had a grudge against elite conquerors. Harrigan sees that it is a unanimous agreement. A mysterious man then interjects, saying he heard an intriguing story. There was an applicant who scored perfectly on the practical exam of the academy yet still failed. The council demands to know who the mysterious man is and how long he has been in the room. Harrigan though recognizes him from the Conquest Society. One member asks if a perfect score on the practical test is even possible. The mystery man replies that if this academy reject became a rogue conqueror, he could easily beat a C-rank labyrinth, that it would be a mistake for them to make this individual their enemy. They demand proof, and he replies that he talked to the Conqueror Academy about it, and they will send all the information tomorrow. Harrigan agrees to wait for tomorrow, as he figures the man will be exposed. The next morning, someone knocks at Luke's door. A lady opens it and tells Luke that it is time for an emergency meeting. He lets out a yawn as he barely slept a wink. He then heads to the meeting, wondering what it could be about. He enters a room with a long table in the middle and the council members all seated with grave expressions. They shoot him angry glances and stay motionless in their seats. Luke senses they have already prejudged him and plans to cast a spell so he can run. A voice grabs his attention, and the rogue conqueror recognizes it as the practical exam giver Swallow, who says he has come to clear his name. Harrigan is about to decide Luke's face. Swallow, meanwhile, watches on. The council asks the rogue conqueror if he intends to change his story. They stare at him, waiting for a reply, but his look holds his ground, stating he has said nothing but the truth. Harrigan calls him stubborn and says he has called forth a witness. If Luke is found to be lying, he will be immediately thrown in jail. Harrigan says they will now question Swallow and is excited to hear the truth, which he expects will match his own idea. Swallow stands up and says he is unaware of Luke's full abilities, but that it would not be a surprise if he was able to kill the boss by himself. Harrigan is caught off guard, while the other members are shocked by this testimony. Swallow continues that during the practical exam, the applicant obliterated all 5 targets without a trace. Target boards they know were made of materials that gave them the strongest durability in the world. Even Luke wonders if those targets were really extraordinary. The council members begin to wonder if it could be true, but Harrigan angrily insists that Swallow tells the truth. The witness replies that Luke was disqualified because he could not use status magic, but that he personally would vouch for the boy's strength. A council member thinks for a moment and then says that a former B-rank conqueror's opinion is likely the truth. Luke is surprised to hear about the teacher's level. He then silently thanks the exam proctor for speaking on his behalf. The council members are still processing the information when a spell is suddenly cast. They all look at the head of the table and see Harrigan using magic and telling them not to be fooled. Swirls of magic fill the room. He speaks condescendingly to Swallow, who remains silent. Other members implore him to calm down, saying an A-rank spell could obliterate the guild. The guild master yells at them to be quiet, then says that if Luke's skills are genuine, he should survive this. He then casts a huge fireball at Luke, who sees it coming. The boy is careful to hold back his power to avoid casualties and casts a tiny fireball the size of his fist. The small ball heads towards the bigger spell. They clash, and it looks as if the small fireball gets absorbed by the bigger one. Harrigan is not surprised to see such a puny spell dispelled by his obviously superior firepower. Suddenly, the large fireball gets blown away while the small one remains. The members look on in shock. Loa's eyes and mouth are wide open in confusion. He can't believe he witnessed such incredible power. Luke casually tells the guild master not to badmouth the practical examiner again. Harrigan can't accept that his ultimate move was stopped just like that and faints. Lo, meanwhile, approaches the rogue conqueror and apologizes. He then says he has arranged for Luke to receive the main party's reward. The vice leader also asks that today's events be kept a secret. Luke sees that it is enough to cover his exam fees. However, he thinks about the main party's family members and says that they use the reward for their funerals instead. He assures them that he will still remain quiet about the incident and they let him go. Meanwhile, the mysterious man from the Conquest Society is pleased with what he saw. He leaves the room with a big smile on his face now that he has confirmed that Luke's talent is the real deal. Elsewhere, Swallow tells Luke how amazing he was for challenging the guild master with a puny fireball. Luke says he just did what anyone would do, then asks when the next exam is. Swallow says it is in 6 months, but he wonders what the academy can even teach him at his level. The rogue conqueror, though, looks utterly dejected upon hearing this, so Swallow takes it back, and then says he will be waiting for Luke at the next exam before saying goodbye. However, the boy knows it might not happen since he will be out of money in 10 days. The next morning, he heads to the guild but is surprised to learn that there are 0 quests available for an F rank. He acknowledges that a rogue conqueror can't join a guild to take on quests, so he has no choice but to accept the mission issued by the guild. He walks away with a defeated look, then suddenly sees an announcement on the bulletin board. It states that no rank or experience is required to become part of the main party. He rushes back to the desk, eager to get more details. He asks why others haven't accepted such a task. Erin explains that if the reward is too high, folks get wary and stay away. She elaborates that labyrinths fall under the guild's authority, but lately things have been spiraling out of control. Sometimes residents who want a quick resolution bypass the guild and ask for help directly. A labyrinth is where magic converges, producing monsters. It will start small, but repeated failures to conquer it will allow it to grow. At worst, it can become an uninhabitable zone. The conditions for such requests tend to be more lenient than the guild. Erin looks at the paper, and then says that something about it feels off. Luke, however, says it is okay and he will take it. He heads to the eastern gate of Lunark City, where some people are hanging out. He wonders if it's the gathering for the main party. A lady then calls his attention. She is Alan, the leader, and she flashes a cute smile as she greets him. She says the others present will team up with them today. They also have carriage transportation ready to take them to the E-rank labyrinth in the village of Lennon. They begin their journey. Alan asks about the ruckus he caused in the C-rank labyrinth. She heard rumors that he sliced the boss to bits. The other members jump in with the wild rumors that they have heard, including that he did it with just a breath. There are also those who can't believe an F-rank could have done it. Luke asks what they will do if he tells them that he actually did it. Alan looks at him and bursts into laughter. She infers from his tone that the story is probably fake. The others follow suit, thinking that Luke was making a joke. The rogue conqueror, though, is just happy to be around such happy company. Alan then shouts that they should have a party once they complete the task. The wagon then draws to a stop, and the driver says they have arrived at Lennon. It is a small village surrounded by a low wooden fence. Some of the shacks look abandoned. Alan instructs the stake-pulling party to hang tight while Luke notices that there aren't many villagers. They head to the labyrinth entrance. Alan notes that it seems to be evolving like crazy. Luke can sense something eerie as well. The party pushes on through and enters the labyrinth. The party enters the E-rank dungeon, which is home to lizard monsters. A 7-colored lizard beast heads at them. Alan orders her party to attack, and they all strike the monster. It soon lays dead on the ground. Alan lets out a smile, saying the request sounded shady. But the monsters are really just E-rank, so completing the quest should be easy. She then asks Luke where he learned magic. Everyone looks at him as he sees that the rumors are causing people to poke into his business. He says his dad first taught him when he was a kid, but he could barely handle the weakest monsters then. After they disappeared, he trained relentlessly for 5 years and studied using the magical tomes from his dad's study. Alan is sad to hear that his parents are missing. He says he asked around, but no one has any idea where they are. His party mates have no idea either, then realize Luke lived alone as a kid for 5 years. Luke elaborates that his house was deep in the mountains, so food was not an issue. One member asks about money, and he answers that all he had was the precious 100,000 gold his parents left him. He saved it and spent some on the exam. The members see that he has had a rough life. Alan is in tears and says she will be there for him. She says they are now comrades who must entrust their lives to one another. Luke looks happy to hear this. He then feels something ominous as he peeks at the door leading to the boss. The other party members are happy to reach it, and Alan tells everyone not to let their guard down. They open the door, head inside, and find themselves facing a giant lizard. Alan is unperturbed as she says it is time to take it down. First, they slice off its tail, then blind it with a strike to the eyes. The monster moves in circles, unable to see, and Alan says it is now time for Luke to use his magic. He casts a small flame and first hurls it right at the monster. It is killed instantly, with its body looking like it was roasted. Alan is stunned at his insane magic power and starts to think that the rumors that he has taken down the C-rank boss by himself must be true. Luke grabs the labyrinth stake from the boss room and figures he will just hand it to the stake pulling team. They head back towards the exit, looking forward to grabbing some drinks. Alan says they should also invite the stake pullers when they suddenly hear a loud scream. Luke looks extremely worried and has a bad feeling. Alan worries that something might have happened to the stake pullers and tells them to hurry. They run forward and then spot some bodies lying on the ground. It is the stake pullers that have been wiped out. Luke wonders what could have happened. One of their party mates moves closer to the bodies and then seems to shout in surprise. He falls to his knees, bleeding trickling down, and then we see that he has been hit by several knives. Luke moves forward and examines the dead body. He sees that he was struck by projectile weapons and wonders if they are dealing with bandits. He looks around and wonders where the attack is coming from. Some more projectile weapons whiz by Luke, who can tell that the enemy is attacking their blind spots. Alan says she will take a look and tells the others to stay hidden. Luke runs to see the other side while the other members remain frozen with fear. Luke screams that they will be done for if they stop moving. Tragically, a torrent of projectiles falls upon the helpless party members. They all fall to the ground, causing Alan to let her guard down for a moment and thus get hit by multiple knives as well. Luke looks horrified. Alan crumples to the ground and writhes in pain. She looks at Luke teary-eyed and begs for help before losing consciousness. He remembers her kind words of friendship and starts to shake in anger. He closes his eyes and focuses on his surroundings. He is able to spot the bandits' location and jumps right at them. He quickly disarms them and then binds their hands so they can't escape. They demand to be released, but Luke asks who they are and why they attacked. He pulls on the binding, causing some pain, so a bandit starts to talk. They say they are thieves who lure conquerors into the labyrinth so they can ambush them. Luke can't believe it as they explain that the job posting was their doing. A figure appears from behind, ready to strike Luke. The rogue conqueror, though, is instinctively able to avoid the attack. The bandit thieves are happy to see their boss. The boss compliments the boys' dodge. The two thieves are excited to see their boss take their attacker down. The leader, though, lets out a sinister laugh and then sheds its skin, revealing itself to be a lizard monster. Luke remembers that his dad warned him that intelligent talking monsters were nothing but trouble. The two thieves are in shock as the lizard explains that he actually ate their boss ages ago. While they were in it for gold, it wanted a feast of flesh. It moves towards Alan's body and starts licking her face with its tongue. Luke is enraged. The monsters mock the conqueror, then start to vanish from their sight. They realize that the monster can blend right into the surroundings. It moves all over the room taunting Luke, but he replies that he has something up his sleeve as well. Some attacks land near them, and the thieves scream in fear. The lizard asks what his move is and observes Luke out of curiosity. He has no idea what the rogue conqueror is up to. Suddenly, a swirling vortex of magic appears. Luke figured an inescapable attack is the perfect solution for unseeable foes. He casts the ultimate flame burst, which fires a blast of magic as large as the entire space in front, leaving no room to hide. The attack is so powerful it creates a new tunnel leading to a hole in the side of the mountain. The thieves are speechless once again. Luke, meanwhile, is happy the labyrinth didn't collapse and heads to the exit with the two bandits as his captives. He heads back to the city of Lunark and takes them to the guild. He explains everything that happened to Harrigan and shows him the two thieves. The guild master has a subdued reply, which Luke notices and wonders if it is because of their previous encounter. Harrigan is a bit bothered that there have now been two parties wiped out. Luke reiterates that he didn't do anything, but the leader replies that while it may be true, he is starting to feel like the Grim Reaper. Luke takes the comment to heart. He later walks out of the building and reflects that 17 people around him have died in just 4 days. He is about to head back to the inn when someone calls his attention. Luke turns and sees that it is the same mysterious man from his trial with the guild higher-ups. He recognizes him as a member of the Conquest Society. He reviews that it is a colossal party that only accepts elites with top marks from the academy. The man then says he wants Luke to join his party. The rogue conqueror is stunned that someone of his status would receive such an invitation from the strongest party. The man introduces himself as Silua. He explains that only the best of the Conqueror Academy are granted membership at the Conquest Society party. Luke wonders why such a prestigious party wants a rogue conqueror like him. Silu knows what he is thinking. He asks if he is planning to enroll in the Conqueror Academy again. The boy says that he will. Silu asks if this means he plans to join their party once he graduates. He tells him that having the privilege to bear their party name means he will possess unmatched power in society. Luke can tell that they will only have him if he manages to graduate. However, he can also tell from the guy's face that he won't give up until he recruits him. Silu promises that if he joins them, he will get all the best quests and learn from the best conquerors. The boy asks why he is trying to recruit an amateur with no track record. Silua says it is because he is a person who single-handedly survived disasters that wiped out an entire party twice. It bothers the boy that he is being known as the Reaper for it. Silu assures Luke that he sees him as a savior instead of a grim reaper. Silu goes on to say that his party wants to harness his power to amplify their influence. Luke sees how highly he is being regarded. He sees no reason to decline, yet he still asks if it is wise to recruit someone considered an omen of death. Silua does not care about the rumor since he knows it will eventually fade away. His seemingly eternal smile turns serious as he declares that the lives of a conqueror are too fragile to waste on simple whispers. His words lead Luke to flashback on all the lives he lost so far. The rogue conqueror ponders how he is right about how easy it is for conquerors to die considering what they face every day. However, hearing a member of the Conquest Society say it makes his statement all the heavier for him, considering they tackle the most dangerous quests of all. Silur returns to his cheerful smile and tells him that he needs to be more concerned with the title he gets on his status instead of the one he is getting through rumors. He wonders what he means. Silu elaborates that his earned title can be seen on his status screen, and that he can get a new title every time he gets an achievement. He asks the boy if he knows how to use magic from his status. Luke replies that he does not have many spells listed in his status. Checking his status right now, he sees the section for his titles at the bottom of the screen. Silur recommends that he learn all about his status screen so that he can unleash his fullest potential. For now, he wants to explain to him what titles are. He elaborates that the title grants him contact buffs and debuffs. He explains that a buff has an effect that enhances his abilities, while debuffs diminish them. Luke remembers scanning the title section before, but remembers that he saw nothing in there. Now, however, he sees that there is a title called Thief Annihilator written on it. Silua had never heard of a title before. Luke wonders if he got it after defeating the lizard bandit since he is a thief. Silua tells him that titles that only give him power in very specific situations can only give him a 5% ability boost. The man can tell that it is getting too complicated for the boy and assures him that he will learn more about titles once he is in the academy. For now, Silua says he will take his leave. He thinks of an idea and instantly changes his mind to leave. Without warning, the smiling man strikes him with a sword that the boy is just lucky to dodge. Luke is shocked and confused. Silua then compliments him for his reaction speed. He decides that he wants to test his abilities to give a more concrete report to his party. Luke says he is okay with it, but it might be too dangerous for them to fight in the middle of the city. Silu agrees to do it on the outskirts instead. To make it interesting, he chases Luke down by threatening to use his sword on him. Meanwhile, Luke's old stake puller group just got out of the bake shop. They see that Luke is being chased by a guy with a sword. The leader of the stake pullers is still guilty about what he did to Luke in the labyrinth. It gives him the fire to help him this time. He grabs the bake shop's signboard and yells at Luke to run while he blocks the chaser's way. It is only now that Luke notices them. Meanwhile, his rescuer is about to hit Silua with the signboard. The vice leader of the stake pullers tells the leader to stop since he recognizes the chaser as Silua from the Conquest Society. This intimidates the leader, who immediately pauses in place. This leads Silua to disarm the signboard often with his sword. Luke looks at the signboard falling to the floor and is intrigued. He is also glad that his old leader is okay. He waves at the group to apologize for the trouble. The crying leader waves back. Eventually, the duo stops at a vast and secluded place, which Silua thinks is perfect for Luke to unleash his true power. The rogue conqueror says he would never dream of unleashing his full power against humans. His words make the Silua smile. He says he feels insulted that he thinks he can hold back against a high-ranking member of the Conquest Society. Luke simply smiles at this. In response, Silua charges at him at full speed. He tries to hit him with a barrage of attacks. He is impressed that he can keep up with his speed but warns him that he can't keep on just dodging. His attack continues with no momentum lost. Luke realizes he is right. He, however, knows he does not need to dodge. The rogue conqueror suddenly stops dodging. It catches Silua off guard. He continues his sword swing, but Luke catches the blade with his bare hands. The boy looks closely at the blade. She smiles confidently, realizing it is as he expected. He declares that he is using a fake sword. He wraps his fist with a fireball spell and punches his sword. The now burning fake sword hurls into the air, then lands on the ground. Silua compliments him for seeing right through his trick. Luke explains that when he deflected the signboard with his sword, he noticed the signboard remained undamaged on the ground. The man congratulates him for realizing it and admits that he was really testing his observation skills. He says that while he is impressed by his power, his cool head and observation skills will also serve them well. He tells him that it is where his skill truly shines. He is now satisfied with the results, and he leaves with a cheerful farewell. With the boy now alone, he is free to check his status screen. He looks closely at the button for the titles. He pushes it to check its contents. It says that the Thief Annihilator title gives him a 100% boost in abilities when facing a thief. He is double-checking if he is reading it right. He wonders if his attacks really double when facing a thief. He remembers that Silua told him he would only gain 5%. He does not know if his new title turned out to be special or if Silua is not as reliable as he expected. Luke decides to investigate why his new Thief Annihilator title has an effect of 100% by reviewing the Conqueror's school exam preparation book but finding no explanation. He explains that he brought the book to the bookstore after he failed to prepare for his next attempt. He is disappointed that he is nowhere near the answer from when he started searching. He remembers how Silua told him he should only be getting a 5% boost. Now that he thinks about it, he feels like his power has increased. He decides to put it on the back burner for now and focus on prioritizing getting money. The next morning, he heads to the Lunar Guild. Erin apologizes since she has no available quests for an E-rank conqueror like him. The boy knows that good quests for F rank are few and far between, but he never expected there would be nothing at all. He asks her what other F rankers do to snatch a quest. She tells him that they usually team up. She recommends he look at the notice that she thinks would be perfect for him. He is surprised to see that it is a recruitment poster for a party meant for rogue conquerors. She explains that the Free Spirit Party are all rogue conquerors and that they are searching for new members. This intrigues the lad, who believes he has just found his place. Two people who also see the ad and comment on how the Free Spirit Party are all just a bunch of failed losers. It is obvious that they are speaking out loud just so they can make Luke feel bad. The rogue conqueror realizes that the party does not have a good reputation. He also realizes that rogues are more looked down upon than he thought. The two say they are going to tear down the recruitment poster. This sends Erin into a rage. He jumps over the reception desk to run towards the two. She yells at them and tells them they will never forgive them if they try to rip it off again. Erin says she hates people who look down on the hardworking Free Spirit Party. Looking closely at the recruitment poster, she informs Luke that the recruitment exam will be happening this afternoon with no cost to boot. She recommends that he check it out. The venue of the recruitment is in a rocky desert outside the city, and hundreds of people are gathered there. Many of them are eccentric-looking characters. Luke is surprised that there are more people than he expected. He feels a sense of camaraderie with his fellow rogues who are facing joblessness like him. He compares these hopeful rogues to the applicants of the academy and thinks they are like night and day. To him, Phasmer in particular is dazzling. He looks around and sees no reception desk. A small girl sees how clueless he looks and realizes right away that he is a newcomer. She tells him that she knows he is trying to look for the reception desk. He asks if she can lend him a hand finding it. The girl proudly introduces herself as the repeat exam taker named Rion and answers that there are no reception area. She recommends that he talk to the instructor for the details instead. The face-masked instructor meets with Luke. He introduces himself as Laddie. The boy replies that he is looking forward to working with him. Laddie gets blunt and tells him that he looks like the kind to bolt out of the exam at the first sign of trouble. The boy feels awkward knowing the guy does not believe in him. He asks him how he can register for the exam, but Laddie replies that they don't register anyone. He explains that they don't bother with that kind of paperwork. The boy asks if it's really okay not to have a roster with so many people around. He looks around and sees that there are too many people to count. Laddie just gets annoyed and yells at him for criticizing their method. The instructor apologizes for his harshness. He tells him that they just have their own style of doing things. Since being a conqueror means making life or death decisions, he does not care if a paper says they came from an academy or not. He leaves the boy and tells him to do as he pleases while things haven't started yet. Rian bothers Luke by complaining about how strict their instructor is. She rants about how he has it out for her every year and how she will show him what she's made off by passing this time for sure. She warns the boy not to underestimate the exam. Despite her complaints, Rian says she will never give up. She shares her intention to take the exam as many times as possible until she gets in. She also says she has other reasons for taking the exam. She looks towards Laddie, then looks away with a blushing face. She gets vague about what that motive is and leaves him be. Her words make Luke wonder what the exam will be like. He remembers how even Aaron knows nothing about the details. He only remembers how the receptionist has full confidence he will ace it. With the exam about to start, Laddie addresses everyone. Luke sees that there are also familiar faces he remembers from the Academy entrance exam. These two Academy rejects are ranting about how they really hit rock bottom by coming here. From the way everyone speaks about the Free Spirit Party, Luke can't blame Laddie anymore for venting his frustration on him. Laddie starts the explanation of the exam by pointing at a labyrinth entrance. He says they need to conquer it. All of the applicants react with panic aside from Luke, who remains expressionless. The applicants complain about how he is asking the impossible. Rian agrees and tells the instructor that he should not have chosen a test that is too hard for cowards like her fellow complainers. The crowd is so loud that Luke feels lost in all the chaos. Laddie suddenly yells at them to shut up, instantly silencing everyone. He tells them that if they don't like it, they can just go home. None of them dares to complain anymore. They all think deeply if they need to back down. Many show doubting faces. Eventually, many separate from the group and leave. Luke is amazed that it only took 10 minutes for most of the applicants to leave. Still, he sees that there are still many who stayed. He sees that everyone is having strategy sessions to debate how to tackle the challenge. Luke uses the opportunity to slip away and enter the labyrinth. He justifies that there are no rules demanding teamwork anyway. He tells himself that it's fine as long as he conquers the labyrinth. Laddie notices that the boy entered. He wonders if he is a fool or just brimming with confidence. Rian follows suit and enters too. She thinks about how she does not want to miss out on what Luke can do. While the other applicants are stuck in place, Luke strides ahead in the labyrinth confidently, with Rian not too far behind him. He does not feel like the test is difficult so far. He can tell from Rian's gaze that she thinks differently. Meanwhile, Laddie is watching them. He sees that Luke seems to be charging ahead with bravado. However, he believes it will not take long until he too runs away like the others. He also worries at the possibility that he will overestimate his skills and end up dead from a monster's hands. He ponders if he should follow along so he can swoop in at any time. This thought changes as he sees that many other applicants are starting to enter the cave entrance. Luke sees it too, but he decides to still stick with his plans. He does not know that most of them want to gauge the situation depending on what happens to him first. A figure suddenly appears in front of these cheaters. It turns out to be floating pumpkin monsters with jack-o'-lantern faces. The participants scramble as they run for their lives. Many of them get caught up by the creature's ability to summon vines to tie them up. One applicant casts a fireball at them, creating an explosion. She thinks she has destroyed them and becomes smug by her own power. It turns out the pumpkins just come out of the smoke without damage. She and the others run. The only one calm is Luke, who quietly assesses that he needs to wipe out the pumpkins. He casts a magic circle. Through it, he charges up his fireball spell. The pumpkins can tell that they are in trouble now. With one blast, many of them turn into ashes. The others can't believe their eyes. Luke gets near the corpses of the pumpkin, loving the aroma coming from them. His mouth waters, but he tells himself not to be distracted by his appetite. The watching examiner is wondering who this powerful sorcerer is. Meanwhile, Rian is hiding behind rocks. He looks at Luke casting his magic to plow ahead, and it makes her wonder how he can charge in so fearlessly. She watches as the rogue conqueror continues to make monsters explode with his power. The other applicants are watching too, and they get the idea of just letting him do the work while they follow him. Laddie suddenly appears behind them to warn them that he is watching everything they are doing. He threatens to fail anyone who would take it easy. This leads to everyone taking arms and facing monsters too. Unlucky for them, no matter what weapons or magic they use, nothing affects the pumpkins. They just keep coming, making many think it is impossible to defeat them. As a result, most of the applicants give up and run back outside. The only ones left in the labyrinth are Luke, Rian, and Laddie. Laddie thinks it is only proper to give up if they are already struggling at the entrance of the labyrinth. Meanwhile, Luke is still blasting away the pumpkins. He ends up in front of a mountain pile of blackened pumpkin corpses. Laddie tells him that he is very impressive and asks if he will continue to move forward by using his overwhelming power. The boy says he will, making the instructor wonder. He tells the boy that he will make sure to witness everything he does until the end. Luke is suspicious by his expression. It makes him think that he has no confidence he will finish the trial. Luke looks so confident that Rian can't help but stare at him. She is still wondering how he can move forward without a second thought. She remembers when she encountered a rabbit monster. She tried to hit it with a fireball spell, but she missed, leading the monster to attack her. She ended up heavily injured. Since then, she can't fight the instinct to freeze up every time she is in real combat. She gets so distracted by her thoughts that she gets caught by a pumpkin restraining her with vines. Luke tries to get to her, but Laddie shields him from getting nearer. The instructor tells him about how Rian ended up with a nasty wound before, how it left her traumatized to the point of being hesitant to face even monsters she can defeat easily. He tells him that they must not interfere, or else she can never be a true conqueror. The boy gets convinced and stays in place. Meanwhile, Ria was struggling to get out of the tentacle-like vines. She would not stop trembling that she couldn't unleash her magic. No matter how much she tells herself to relax, she can't, and as a result, no magic comes out of her hands. Luke then realizes something, and she shouts at Rian to get her attention. He tells her to trust him with his magic. They must cast a spell together at the same time and take down the pumpkin. She is hesitant but knows he is powerful. She acknowledges that there is no way the monster would survive with him blasting it away. She tells Luke to fire at the count of 3. She counts down. The moment the countdown ends, the pumpkin gets covered in flames. Rian cheers for their victory. She praises the rogue conqueror for having such powerful magic. Luke and Laddie are looking at her funny, so she gets confused. Luke reveals that he only pretended to cast magic. This leads the girl to question how the monster got defeated. Laddie assures her that it is because of her well-earned power. The girl thinks about it. She looks at her hands and cries, unable to believe she did it herself. She reviews that she was only at ease casting her spell because Luke was supporting her. She realizes her hands are no longer trembling. More monsters appear, and she casts fireballs on them. She makes a cheerful smile as she thanks Luke for what he has done for her. The boy assures her that it was simply a result of her hard work. Laddie finally admits that they have 2 promising applicants this year. Luke and Rian are already midway through the labyrinth. So far, Laddie is impressed at how many monsters they can take down. As he thinks this, Luke is eliminating multiple pumpkin monsters with one blast. It comes to the point that the pumpkins are already running away at the sight of him. Laddie is intimidated by Luke's power, as not only is he not struggling, but his expression never even twitched. Again and again, he just looks casual while blasting away pumpkin monsters. He wonders where he possibly got his ridiculous strength. The rogue conqueror has no fear at all that he casually gets out of the instructor's sight. They follow him until he reaches the gateway to the final boss. Laddie and Rian are horrified to know the implications of what he is about to do. Luke casually comments on how they are already at the end. Laddie discouraged him from facing the boss all by himself. This confuses the boy, who replies that he was the one who told them to conquer the labyrinth. Just as Laddie says it is not what he meant, the gateway opens. Upon their entering, Rian can sense an ominous and powerful presence. She panics and asks Laddie for them to get out of the room. Just as they are about to turn back, the gate closes. She continues to panic now that they are trapped. She is then silenced as the powerful presence becomes more intense. The final moss giant pumpkin-headed boss has arrived, and the creature is oozing with dark energy that envelopes the room like fog. Luke tells them to get ready. Meanwhile, Laddie tells the applicants to get behind him. So Rian does. The boss charges up its attack. It fires a rain of fireballs at them like a meteor shower. Laddie braces himself. He then sees Luke facing the attack head-on. He tells him not to be reckless and to hide behind him alongside Rian. Laddie keeps shielding himself from the barrage with his giant swords. The impact of the fireballs is so strong that he is being pushed back. He worries that he can't attack while he is protecting Rian. No matter what he does, he can't move. Meanwhile, Luke keeps running towards the enemy. Laddie worries he is way over his head. Luke counters with his own blast of flame. It is strong enough that the pumpkin boss's firepower is being pushed back. Eventually, the beam reaches the creature until it overwhelms it. Laddie and Rian are looking on in disbelief. Meanwhile, the other applicants are walking home, already a great distance from the test ground, and all thinking they have wasted their time. They suddenly hear a loud noise. They are scared as they wonder if it came from the labyrinth. Back at the labyrinth, there is a giant crater where the boss monster has been hit. Laddie and Rian can't believe it themselves. They wonder if he is really a newcomer. Laddie thinks that Luke is so powerful that even a seasoned conqueror would not stand a chance against him. He wonders where he comes from. They can barely see through the dust that they can't see what happened to Luke. They wonder if he is even alive. As the smoke slowly clears, they can see Luke's silhouette still standing. It is revealed that there is nothing left of the boss aside from his pumpkin head. Luke says he is fine and that he has taken down the boss. He asks the instructor if this means he has passed. Laddie does not know what to answer. Luke gets curious as to why he is so shocked. Laddie can't stop trembling. It worries Luke that he must have done something wrong. Laddie assures him he did nothing wrong and that he just never expected him to conquer the labyrinth. Luke questions why if that's what he told them to do. Laddie answers that he lied. This confuses the boy even more. The instructor clarifies that he never dreamt that they would ever conquer the labyrinth. He admits that the actual exam was designed to test only their situational awareness and crisis management skills. The boy finally gets it. He asks what this means for the results. Laddie tells Rian that he passed. The girl is happy but shocked. He explains that it is due to her conquering her trauma and congratulates her. He further elaborates that he watched how she took a measured approach to defeating foes by assessing their strengths. The girl is so glad she passed that she hugs Luke. Luke then looks at Laddie, asking for his results. He answers that he does not really know how to grade him, but it does not matter. The instructor hugs him tightly, making the boy feel awkward. He tells him that he has passed even if he strayed from the original purpose of the exam because he simply can't let such extraordinary talent like him go to waste. The boy is relieved to pass and is glad that this means he won't struggle to find work again. He then asks the instructor wholeheartedly, but also asks that he let go of him. Laddie is in tears to find a treasure like him to join their party. He is so excited to tell everyone at the Free Spirit party about him. He then pauses as he realizes he never learned his name. It shocks him that his name is Luke. It makes the boy wonder why he is so surprised. Much to his discomfort, Laddie asks if he is the one everyone calls the Reaper. Laddie can't believe he is the Reaper. He realizes he was too quick on passing him and asks to be given a moment. He assures the boy that he wants him so badly that he is like the last drop of water in the desert to him. However, he also needs to consider the image of the Free Spirit Party, especially since all of its members are rogue conquerors. Rian tells him to pass the boy already, but he still can't. It makes Luke realize how his reputation is being affected by the whispers that he is bad luck. He asks that the boy give him a day to persuade the higher-ups. Luke agrees to it. He tells himself that arguing won't change a thing and just accepts it. He hopes that everything goes well. He plans to wait until tomorrow for the answer. The next morning, Luke is walking the market, and he is so hungry that his stomach is aching. Everywhere he looks, there are delicious foods tempting him. He thinks about how he has not eaten a thing since he ate boiled beans yesterday morning. He counts his coins, desperate for something to eat. He suddenly hears someone asking for help. A running girl screams that a thief just stole from her. People become highly alert. They try to catch the thief, but he is too agile and slippery for them. The thief is just laughing at their attempts, and he is smug at how everyone is too slow for him. Luke is getting annoyed. He hates the timing of this happening at the exact moment he is dying of hunger. As the thief is running towards the boy, he keeps challenging the people to catch him. Luke easily grabs the stolen bag off of him. The result is that the thief trips. The criminal gets angry and asks who he is. Luke has no mood for him and tells him that all he needs to understand is that he is here to capture him. The thief recognizes him and is in a cold sweat as he calls him the Reaper. The entire street whispers in fear at the presence of the Reaper. They talk about how they heard that people around him keep on dying. Luke sees that rumors about him have been spreading. He tries to ignore it and focus on capturing the guy. He approaches and the thief tells him to get away from him. The boy ends up pinning the criminal to the ground. The girl victim sees what he did for her and thanks him happily. The father of the victim threatens the thief to take care of his punishment. He looks at his face closely and recognizes that he is the wanted rogue conqueror. He ties him up and leaves with him. It reminds Luke of what Erin said to him. He remembers her saying that while there are exceptionally skilled rogue conquerors, there are also dishonorable ones who do bad things out of poverty or feelings of inferiority. This, she says, contributes to the bad image of rogue conquerors. His thoughts get interrupted by the girl he helped. She gives him 2 of her homemade cupcakes. She hopes he likes it and tells him that it is a token of her appreciation. The boy is shocked to see her being so kind to him. She assures him that he does not listen to the rumors that he is the Reaper. She tells him that he is a gem in her eyes because he rescued her. She advises him not to let their words get to him. She takes her leave and he thanks her. As he walks, he eats the cupcakes. He comments on how warm and cozy it tastes. He feels like both hunger and heart have just been filled. It makes him have the mood to go to the Free Spirit Party's headquarters. He heads to the outskirts of the Lunark City. In this creepy part of the forest, full of crows, the boy sees a huge but aging manor. To the boy, it looks creepy. He reveals it is the headquarters of the Free Spirit Party. He looks around and sees that some of its walls are already broken. He remembers other, more luxurious headquarters of other parties in his books, and how they all have a totally opposite vibe. Rian comes out of the building door and happens to see him. She greets him with a happy energy. She hopes that he finds out soon if he passed or not. Without warning, a wall breaks as Laddie and another party member crash out of it while they are grappling with each other. Seeing them fight makes Luke think that their party is falling apart. Laddie tells his opponent that they need Luke in their party. The other one protests and tells him that it is not only his decision to make. Laddie gets distracted by Luke's presence. This gives his opponent the opportunity to sucker punch him. They enter the manor. In the living room, Laddie is revealed to be tied up next to the other party member he was fighting before, and they are sitting across from Luke. The man introduces himself as Stark, an executive member of the Free Spirit Party. He apologizes to Luke. The boy asks if it means he can't join them. Stark tells him that he passed, but that they need to hold off him joining for now. Luke asks if it is because of his reputation as the Reaper. Stark does not answer, but his shamed look says he is right. Meanwhile, Laddie cuts the ropes on his mouth using his nearby sword. Laddie protests, telling Stark that the boy can wipe away those rumors after joining them. Stark fears that even if Luke succeeds in a mission without casualties, everyone will still think he is a phony. Luke remembers how the guild master did not believe him and thinks he is right. Stark also fears that their party will end up being untrusted by their clients. If that happens, their already dwindling reputation will get damaged even more, and the guild will no longer send work their way. Stark stands up and looks out the window. He looks at his teammates outside, all enjoying talking to each other. He observes how happy they look. For Stark, the Free Spirit is a haven for conquerors who carved their own path, and he can't do anything to ruin that for them. He tells Luke about how they were once just a tiny party who faced many hardships until they became the striving team they are right now. He wants to let him know how heavy his responsibility is in safeguarding his family. Luke can tell how serious he is. He bows before Luke, hoping he will understand. He looks so humble that even Laddie can feel the weight of his responsibility. Luke remembers how scared the people were of him. It makes him understand what will happen if he joins them. Stark assures him that they still want him in their party. Luke asks him if he can join them once the rumor of him being the Reaper dies down. He answers that it is a promise. He apologizes and the boy accepts. Stark thanks him and assures him that the Free Spirit Party will support him in any way they can in return. Luke thanks him back. He reveals that he wanted to join a party because he was struggling without a quest to take on and asks what they could do about it. Stark thinks about it and states that this is exactly the reason the Free Spirit Party exists. He suggests that he be on the lookout for requests he can tackle solo. Laddie speaks up about a last resort. He tells him that he can make a request to conquer a labyrinth instead of the guild offering him a request to conquer a labyrinth. He advises him to ask the receptionist for the details. He warns him that he should only consider this as a last resort. Luke thanks him for the information. He is intrigued and thinks he has no choice but to do it to make ends meet. He makes up his mind and wants to head to the guild as fast as possible. He returns to the Lunark Guild. The moment he enters the building, someone with a pickaxe approaches him. The angry woman introduces herself as Alyssa, the one in charge of exploring and managing labyrinths, and she is pissed at the boy for destroying so many of the labyrinths. She blames him for how hard it is to explore them now because of all the rubble in the way. Luke remembers how much destruction he made in the last labyrinth. He casually tells the woman that he is sorry. This does not deter her fury one bit. It leads her to chase after him. She is so violent that Aaron needs to get Alyssa away from the boy. Alyssa has just finished beating up Luke for all his labyrinth destruction. Luke wants to know more about his attacker, but right now he decides to focus on asking about how he can make a request to conquer a labyrinth. Later, he gets to tell Aaron about it. Aaron confirms to him that he can do that it is just easier for a party to take a quest from them instead of paying the request fee. She reviews her records to see what labyrinth he can go to. She presents only 3 labyrinths he can select. The boy sees that one is a C rank, one is a D, and the last is an E. The receptionist informs him that labyrinth quests get snatched quickly by parties, making these 3 the only ones left available for him. He asks her what he needs to do to be a requester. She tells him that he needs to deposit 100,000 gold to the guild, but if he fails, he can't get it back. She warns him that it would be tough for him to gather the money and manpower. He corrects her about how he will gather manpower and declares he will conquer a labyrinth alone. Aaron is shocked to hear it. She warns him that the guild can't stop him if that is what he decides. She admits that he is the first person she met who thinks he can conquer a labyrinth alone, that she only saw a party ever decided to do it. She thinks about how strong the boy is and wonders if he can really do it. She remembers how he managed to conquer lesser labyrinths in the past. Luke thinks about how it stings that he needs to deposit 100,000 gold, but is confident he can succeed with all the rewards going to him. Making up his mind, he asks to finalize the process. He sets off towards the village where the E-rank labyrinth awaits him, carrying his cartoonishly large luggage throughout the 2-day run for proper training. The location is so far away that he realizes this must be the reason why no party has snatched up the labyrinth. The next day, after his camping rest, Alyssa wakes him up and tells him that they are almost at Marcel village. He is so shocked by the woman's appearance that he bumps his head at hers. The girl tells him that she chased after him with a horse carriage. Luke is glad she came to help him, but the girl assures him that she did not and is only coming along to survey the labyrinth. This makes the boy feel disappointed. She tells him that she is coming so he won't be so destructive this time. She heard that the last labyrinth he destroyed was so damaged that he and his comrades had a hard time getting out because of all of the rubble. She worries that even if he defeats the boss monster somehow, he might not be able to get out of the labyrinth with all the fallen rubles he will cause. She advises him that a true conqueror should always consider safety, that he can't afford to be carefree. He takes her advice to heart. He promises that from this moment on, he will be more cautious. Finally, they arrive at Merrill village. Luke can tell from the few houses that the population is low. A little girl bumps into him. She does not recognize Luke and Alyssa, so she gladly tells them that her name is Meru. She is so friendly that she offers them cookies that came from her mom's shop. She even calls them Big Brother and Big Sister, respectively. Luke thanks her, so the girl smiles. She waves them goodbye while hoping they enjoy their time in the village. As they eat the cookies, they are in heaven. An old man then sees them. He and his wife tell them they do not recognize them. Luke tells them that he came to conquer the labyrinth of their village and asks for a map to go there. The old man is so happy that a party has finally graced their village that he is crying. The boy has no opening to tell him that he is not part of a party. The old man tells everyone in the village that a hero finally arrived to save them. More old fellows come to the boy to thank him for coming. One is so thankful, he won't let go of his hands. Alyssa sees how many crowd the boy. Once they calm down, they ask the boy where his companions are. They look at Alyssa, but the woman tells them she is not a conqueror like him. The villagers look at each other in confusion. They ask him if he came to the village first to check things out for his companions. Luke raises his hand. He tells them that he is tackling the labyrinth alone and that he is not part of a party. All of them are shocked to hear it and look at each other in disbelief. They all yell at him. They instantly lose faith, having no confidence he can conquer the labyrinth alone. It makes them feel like their village is doomed. The boy assures them there is no need to worry since he can conquer the labyrinth. They all tell him to not throw his life away and just head home. They all leave with their hopes shattered. He yells out that he has defeated bosses and tackled E-rank dungeons before. Yet no matter what he says, the people keep getting farther and farther away from him. He feels down that no one believed him. Alice advises him to conquer the dungeon and prove his worth. Without warning, the ground quakes. They wonder what is happening and realize the direction where it came from. They fear that what happened means the labyrinth expanded and then collapsed. A woman suddenly appears, begging for help. She tells everyone that her daughter Meru got swallowed by the labyrinth during the collapse. Luke remembers that it was the child who gave them cookies. He tells the mother not to worry and then runs off to action. The villagers, all desperate to find Meru, head to the chasm the labyrinth's growth created. The villagers are worried since they are too weak to enter the seemingly bottomless pit. Luke steps up. He tells the people that he is going in. All he has in his mind is the rescue of Meru and the conqueror of the labyrinth. He finds that Alyssa is also climbing down. She justifies her support by telling Luke that her job is to watch out for Meru while he battles the monster. She also tells him not to worry about her, reminding him that she is accustomed to going to labyrinths. She chooses to trust her and reminds her to be careful. They go inside, where it is so dark it is pitch black. To counter it, Luke casts a torch. Unfortunately, the light proves useless. The darkness makes Alyssa worry that an E-rank conqueror like Luke may not be able to handle it alone. Despite her worries, Luke is simply annoyed by the inconvenience. He touches the wall with his left hand so that he can move forward. He seems so accustomed to the dark that he is moving too fast for Alice's comfort. The boy tells her that he can navigate by feeling the slightest shift in air and sound, something that seems so impossible to the girl. The boy is thankful that living in a labyrinth for so long has come in handy. A wolf-like monster with only one eye appears, and Luke takes notice even without sight. Alice is worried since it would be impossible to fight a monster in total darkness. Luke merely stretches out his hand and casts a fireball at the creature, hitting it with pinpoint accuracy. The creature's entire body is enveloped in flame. The boy's casual ease in the dark is so weird to Alyssa. He justifies that he can pinpoint where the monster is just by the sound. To the girl, he is a monster of his own league. He worries, however, that they have not found Meru yet. With no footsteps but theirs, he deduces that the little girl is further away from them. Elsewhere in the labyrinth, Meru is alone and hiding from a nearby monster. She worries since she has been walking for quite a while and there are still no signs of exit. She calls for her parents, but no one answers. She tells herself to fight the fear so she can concentrate on being hidden and finding a way out. Back to the duo. Luke is still following the wall to keep moving forward. They find a vague figure glowing. Getting nearer, it turns out to be a rock golem. Alyssa knows that golems don't usually appear in E-rank labyrinths and so thinks its appearance is due to the labyrinth expanding. She warns Luke to watch out since they are tougher than most monsters. Without an ounce of worry, Luke simply shoots a fireball in its eye. This action causes the creature to collapse. It blows the girl's mind that it was that easy. Luke tells her that all he needed to do was target its eye. She does not know how to react since it usually takes a party of 5 or 7 to take out a golem. Meanwhile, Luke goes busy taking out the golem's labyrinth stake. He puts it in his item box like it is all in a day's work. Alice asks him to shine a light. She shows him that there is a handprint of a child on the rock beside them. She also shows him that there are other handprints they can follow until they lead them to Meru. An hour later, Meru hears something. She hides before a golem sees her. She then finds herself in front of a gigantic door she does not know leads to the final boss's lair. She finds a hole in the gap of the door. It makes her hopeful that she can go under it. She goes on trying to crawl inside. Later, Luke and Alyssa find themselves at the same door. They worry that Meru might be in there. Alyssa finds the same opening the little girl found. Looking closely, she thinks a kid could hide in there. Luke's eyes widen at the thought of her going in. He plans to go in. He asks that Alyssa stay outside. She agrees, knowing she will only get in the way. Luke takes responsibility for not letting the labyrinth grow further. As he walks in, he tells himself that the village's salvation rests on his shoulders. The moment he comes in, a golem more intimidating and gigantic than the others appears and is already trying to grab him. The boy can tell right away that the monster is strong. It tries to hit him, but it crushes only the ground beneath him. He assesses its strength through the crater it created by its punch. The golem scoops a boulder by gripping the ground like it is clay. It then throws it at him. He manages to dodge, hitting only the wall. Luke determines that the monster is unbelievably fast despite its massive size. Through its one eye, it shoots a laser beam. It catches Luke off guard that he is about to get hit. Meanwhile, Alyssa is still outside the door, worried at all the noise coming from the battle. She then hears something behind her. It turns out Meru is just behind her, hiding in the big rock structures. The little girl tells her that she almost went inside the door but got stuck. She got scared to get in the moment she saw the final boss. The memory of its appearance makes the little girl's body tremble in fear. Alyssa comforts her by telling her that Luke will soon defeat the creature. She assures her little worried head that he is the ultimate rogue sorcerer. Back inside the boss's lair, the smoke is clearing to see that Luke remains unscathed by the blast. He managed to escape death by jumping on top of a platform at the last second. Moreover, the golem does not move after its big laser attack. He realizes that his opportunity to strike is after it casts a spell again. The golem starts to move again. Its eye glows and is charging another beam. The boy gauges its timing. It shoots another beam. He dodges. He sees that it is not moving again. He readies his spell by gathering energy. Within seconds, huge spiraling flames appear above his hands. He makes it as big as possible, knowing the defense of the opponent is strong. He waits until it moves to strike. He analyzes that the creature's first movement would be its right arm pulling back while its left foot moves forward. He foresees that it will be the wind-up to punch him. By foreseeing it, he manages to dodge and then circle back to its back. He then combined his 2 vortexes of flames. Then he finally unleashes it. It is so powerful that it is pushing back the giant. It slowly crumbles. The pain makes it shriek. Luke wonders if he manages the core of the creature. He tries to search for the monster. His attack was so powerful that there is no trace of it left. Without any obstacles left, he yanks out the stake from the ground. He then stashes it inside his item box. He changes his focus to tracking down Meru. He wonders why the golem turned out tougher than the wolf boss in the C-rank dungeon. He thinks it must be because the labyrinth is evolving somehow, and that he should report this to the guild when he is back. He walks out of the boss lair. Alyssa sees him and hugs him out of relief that he is safe. Meru also thanks him for saving her village. The boy is just relieved to see her alright. Both girls hug Luke, making him unable to breathe. They all ready themselves to get back to the surface. The trio climbs up to the surface. They cheer, knowing they made it out in one piece. They hear a sound coming their way. It turns out to be the elders of the village. Seeing them, they tell the others that Meru is back. They gather around the trio and see that it is true. Meru's mother runs towards her daughter. They reunite with a tender embrace. Everyone thanks Luke for rescuing her. The elder tells the boy he is lucky he made it back alive. Luke tells them he conquered the labyrinth. This shocks the entire village. Seeing that they did not absorb what he just said, he tells them again that he conquered the labyrinth. The elder laughs at him like he is only telling a joke. They all think he is lying just to raise their morale. Both Meru and Alyssa confirm that he is telling the truth. Despite their backing, they remain skeptical. The boy can tell they need more evidence. He casts his item box to show them the mountain of stakes he collected. With this, he knows they will finally be convinced. The villagers are shocked and in disbelief. Their jaws are hanging, seeing the labyrinth stakes for themselves. They look at each other as if trying to convince themselves it is. There is another earthquake. Alyssa tears up, knowing it is the sound of the labyrinth collapsing because all of the stakes have been removed. Slowly the chasm disappears. It is the final evidence for the villagers to believe is finally over. Alyssa tells them that Luke took down every monster. Again, the villagers are shocked by the mention that he did it all alone. Meru hypes him more by telling them he even took down the boss. Being talked about so much makes Luke uncomfortable. Finally, the chasm closes completely. The villagers are shivering as they take in that their worries are finally over. They cheer for the hero who saved them. They all call him the solo conqueror. They offer him food, booze, and a party. Everyone rejoice. Seeing them so happy makes Luke feel happy himself. He takes a look around and notices all the wrecked houses because of the monsters, and he knows they had it rough all this time. He hears a clicking sound. He thinks there must be an update in his status and makes it appear. He sees that he has earned the title of Conqueror of Labyrinth. He ponders what it means and clicks on it. The description says that he will get a 50% power boost every time he goes to a labyrinth alone. The huge power-up overwhelms the boy. It boggles his mind that he is given an insanely powerful advantage. He thinks he is being rewarded for being a lone wolf. As he goes to the others for the party, he can't shake the feeling that there will be more challenges ahead for him. The next day, Elise and Luke are about to separate on the road. Alyssa tells the boy to take care. She says there are more labyrinths she needs to survey, so he needs to get back to the guild on his own. She is glad to know that he was not so destructive in the labyrinth this time around, which made it easier for them to return back to the surface. She praises him for everything he has done. They shake hands. They look at each other as comrades. She tells him to see him around, and the boy does the same to her. As Luke leaves, Elise watches. She reviews how they were not together for so long, yet now she finds herself missing him already. She admits that she has never seen a conqueror like him, strong enough to come out of the boss's lair without a scratch on him. She remembers how she told Meru that he is the ultimate sorcerer just to ease the little girl's worries. Now, she thinks Luke really is the ultimate sorcerer. 3 days later, Luke heads to the Lunar Guild. He enters where Erin sees him. She thinks he is back early because the labyrinth was too much for him. The boy notices this, so he immediately shows her all the stakes he collected. The girl is shocked to see all of them. Luke comments on how this is always their reaction once he shows unbelievers undeniable proof. The receptionist goes on to appraise the stakes. The boy reviews that labyrinth stakes fetch a high price as they are used as a power source. He takes note that the main monster party doesn't usually bother taking some since slaying monsters is more profitable. For him, however, who needs the money, it is a valuable material he can never take for granted. Erin finalizes her appraisal. She confirms that all of them are authentic. Erin ponders how there are so many stakes when the labyrinth assigned to the boy was supposed to be so small. She asks him if they really came from the labyrinth. Luke gets confused, considering it would not be very wise to buy stakes from another source just for him to sell them to the guild. He tells her that she can ask the villagers if she is suspicious of where they came from. The girl apologizes and says she is just surprised that their quality turned out to be different from what they anticipated. He asks if they are of poor quality. She answers that it is the opposite and that the quality of each is too good for an E-rank labyrinth. She wonders how this could have happened. Luke reports that the labyrinth he conquered has grown bigger than their description, with the monster being a lot stronger for an E rank. Erin informs him that it has not been a year since they learned about the labyrinth, making its fast growth very unusual. Luke remembers how the labyrinth near his house grew at the same fast rate until it swallowed up his home. Hearing Erin say the E-rank labyrinth grew unusually fast makes the boy realize that the event of his dungeon was also out of the ordinary. Erin realizes she will give an incredible amount of money to the boy. Luke volunteers to donate a portion of the reward to Marcel Village. He tells her that it is because the poor village was ravaged by monsters. Erin becomes enamored by his kindness. She understands and says she will make the arrangements. She comments on how he conquered another labyrinth solo, and how he is obviously overqualified to be only an F-rank's conqueror. Deep down, the boy feels the same. He gets determined to level up fast. He tells Erin that he wants to climb up the ranks. The girl knows a method to rank up in record time, but is hesitant to tell him about it because the conditions to do it are brutal. She decides it is worth telling him because she wants to be a help to the boy. She tells him that there is one way to rank up quickly, but that it will not be easy. She hypes up that it is a method that is nearly impossible. Luke just heard from Erin that there is a way to rank up in no time. He ponders if such a method really exists. He asks the receptionist what he should do. She tells him about the 5 great parties. She explains that among the countless parties across the land, the 5 great parties are considered the best. Luke remembers how Silua from the Conquest Society tried to invite him into their party. Erin continues that rogue conquerors usually need a year of experience to rank up. He tells him that if he can get a recommendation from the master of any of the 5 great parties, he can skip the line and take a special exam to jump up from F rank to E rank. Luke had never heard of this method before. She tells him that it is exceedingly rare for a party master to recommend a rogue conqueror. She never even heard of it happening in the last decade, making the boy think it would not feasible. To him, it is like the mountaintop where great conquerors are is too far for him to reach. Erin admits that he needs to build connections first before he can even aim for it. That by the time he gets them, he would have already ranked up anyway. To Luke, getting to know one of the masters of the 5 great parties is a hurdle too high even for him. He decides it would be more realistic to keep grinding away at his job. With this in mind, he goes to the bulletin board to find another quest he can take. Silua suddenly greets him. He wonders what he is doing here. The man tells him that he went to the guild just because he had a feeling he needed his help. Silua is giving off vibes that he is in love with Luke, making the boy feel awkward around him. The man claims that they only coincidentally ran into each other. He shows him a paper with an official seal. He says he figured he might need it. Luke realizes he is holding a recommendation letter from his party master. Silua confirms it is true. He says he managed to persuade the party master to write it for him. He gives it to the boy, who thanks him. With his business done, Silua is quick to leave. The boy watches him leave. He wonders if he came all this way just to deliver the letter to him. He realizes that he must be a big deal if he can pull strings like this. He casually shows Erin the recommendation letter, shocking the receptionist. She can't believe he got it so fast. She is quick to take care of the paperwork and asks him to fill in his stats. He asks why he needs to fill out his status on a form. Erin informs him that it is for picking the examiner that is right for his skill level. The boy understands. He fills out the form as asked. Later on, both Guildmaster Harrigan and Erin report to him that they can't see the results from his status form, shocking the boy. Erin informs him that when she puts his form in the machine can't show them a clear picture. She says that the status should appear in alphabetical letters and that this is the first time this has happened. This leads the boy to have flashbacks of when he had the status exam at the academy. Harrigan says he looked into it, but he does not know what happened. Hearing that even the Guildmaster does not know what is happening makes the boy worry this is serious. Harrigan now plans to bring in a diagnostician who can sense a person's power level just by touching them. He elaborates that the person can sense the magical energy of a person just by touch. He also informs him that the diagnostician is on their way to the guild right now. Later on, a beautiful woman walks into the guild, and she is so pretty that heads turn as she passes by. She appears before Luke. The woman introduces herself as Maya, the diagnostician. The boy gets enamored by her beauty. She checks the machine and confirms that his status is indeed presented as blurry. Maya admits that this is the first time she has seen something like this happen. She goes ahead to start the process of checking Luke's magical energy. She tells the boy to remove his jacket. Her boldness to ask a man to remove a piece of his clothing shocks Erin. Maya explains that a jacket makes it hard for her to examine his body through touch. She elaborates that people with low status rankings usually feel cold to her. People with average status feel lukewarm. If she touches someone who is a powerhouse, they feel hot. The more contact he makes with a person, the easier it is for her to get a picture of how high their status level is. Luke removes his jacket. Simply being given Luke's jacket makes Erin blush. Maya goes on to touch the boy's hand. The magic he feels from him is so intense she feels like she is being engulfed by fire. She wonders who he really is. Luke asks what's wrong. She replies by asking how on earth he got his power. The more she touches his hand, the more she feels like he has bottomless magic. She is getting so overwhelmed that she asks him to hold on. She states that she never felt the kind of magic energy he has before. She feels so much heat coming from him that she can't think straight. She lifts the boy off the ground like a princess and tells him she needs to get him to bed to examine him more closely. This shocks Aaron, who now has a face that is fully red. They go to a more private room. There, Maya puts the rogue conqueror on a bed. She first touches his legs and plans to examine him in every inch. Even from the legs, she is already overwhelmed with his power. She touches his stomach. She can sense the magic flowing around his body. She takes note that while S-rank conquerors made her feel dizzy, she still was able to read their status. Yet now with Luke, she can't make out how strong he is, and feeling him only makes her brain go haywire. She wonders if the glitch image of the machine means his magical energy is just too powerful to measure. She wants to examine him more closely, and she puts her face next to his with her hand on his chest. She still can't see clearly, so she wants to move even closer by touching his face. She is not satisfied, so she puts her face to his that they are almost kissing. She then puts the boy in an intimate embrace. They look so intimate that Aaron is in tears. The receptionist tells her it is too much. Maya then becomes so dizzy from his power that she faints. Luke and Aaron panic, and they yell out for help. Later, Maya tells Luke that his readings are off the charts. It disappoints him that his stats are still left in the dark. The Guild High Council discussed the matter until they finally found someone to oversee his exam. 3 days later, the Arena Guild Exam Center is being filled by people for the rank-up exam. Luke is outside the arena, looking at all the people coming in to see him rank up. He then sees a bright light coming his way. It turns out to be Fastener, who has a crowd following him like always. He tells the boy that he came to witness his trial. Swallow also says hi. He says he came because he is curious. Fastener wants Luke to listen to him. He suddenly grabs him by the collar. He warns him that, as his rival, he is not allowed to make a fool of himself. Swallow also advises him to give it his all. Luke thanks them for their support. He promises to give it his best shot. Later, many are shown in the audience seats. They talk about the whispers that an F-rank rogue conqueror named Luke will be the one to take the rank-up exam. They all think he will fail. They assume that because he is a bottom-tier rogue conqueror, the result will be a given. The crowd hears footsteps. Silua is revealed to be among the audience. Luke appears in the ring, ready to begin. Luke gets ready for his opponent. The man he will face appears before him. He is an instructor from the Conquest Society, and he is a muscled man with a big sword and brimming with confidence that Luke will be an unworthy opponent for him. He introduces himself as Leo, his instructor. Luke also introduces himself, saying it is his pleasure. The audience recognizes the instructor as someone formidable. They recognize the scare on his face and his brute strength to lift a massive sword. They know him as Leo, the demon of the Conquest Society, known to take in top-tier academy graduates to mold them to their full potential. They get excited as his presence means the mock battle will be good. Even Fastener is impressed by his presence. Swallow can feel the Ma's strength even from the audience section. The crowd is all cheering for the instructor to take out who they deem is a bottom tier. Leo looks around in the crowd. He spots Maya, and he is madly in love with her. It gives him the fire to give Luke no mercy to impress the lady. While he is all fired up, Luke is as calm and emotionless as ever. He asks that instructor if he passes if he wins against him. Leo can't believe he thinks he can beat him. He laughs out loud. He goes into a battle stance and tells him it is a deal. Luke can tell he is not taking him seriously, but he is fine with it since being underestimated is an advantage. Both players face each other at the center. The referee announces the mock battle to begin. Leo instantly charges in with a sword strike. The boy can see it coming but remains his calm and expressionless self. He stops the momentum with his fingers and no visible struggle on his face. Leo can't process this. He's smiling, not knowing how to react. The instructor laughs, saying he held back, despite knowing deep down that he gave it his all to show off to Maya. His mood becomes more alert, promising he will hit him with his next move. He unleashes a beam of energy that he brags vanquished countless warriors. The boy neutralizes it upon contact with his hand. Leo tells himself that he must be rusty since it has been a while since he used it. The crowd thinks he is just messing around and wants him to be serious already. It wakes Leo up to get serious. He unleashes multiple tornadoes that whirl chaotically in the ring. Swallow and Fastener are at the edge of their seats. The other audience members also have mouths hanging. They can no longer see the battle as a simple exam. Leo is impressed that the boy is still standing after unleashing an attack that would take down even the warriors he trained. Luke thinks he is being humble, and that there must be conquerors in his party that are just as skilled as himself. He comes to believe that he must be the kind of instructor who praises his students even when they do something mundane to make them improve. He also thinks the alternative that it might be a trap and deems him a master of mind games. It makes him thread carefully. Along with the tornado, Leo keeps trying to reach him with his sword, and he comments that he is just running away. He unleashes another beam of energy at point-blank range to finish the fight. Luke then activates another spell. It is revealed he made a glass-like barrier, trapping the instructor inside like he is in a cage. The momentum of Leo's charge makes him bump into its wall. He feels the barrier out, realizing he is trapped within. Luke can tell that he can't see the barrier. Leo fears that his opponent just unleashed barrier magic that only a handful of elites can use. He smiles. He declares that he will shatter it into pieces. He hits the walls with his sword to destroy them. Try as he might, nothing happens. The audience can't see the barrier and are getting confused at what he is doing. They think he is just fooling around. Luke knows his opponent is trying to look cool by giving it his all to break free, but thinks he just looks ridiculous. The boy readies flame magic and plans to fire the moment he neutralizes the barrier. Leo sees that none of his slashes made any dent in the barrier. He got so distracted by getting free that he only realizes now that the boy is up to something. He screams at the bone-chilling event he is witnessing. It is revealed that Luke has already charged up his fireball so much that it is huge. The crowd becomes excited at what will happen next. As opposed to Leo, who is internally screaming in fear of his life, Luke goes for the wind-up. It makes the crowd go wild. Meanwhile, Leo is still screaming. He raises his hand and tells him he surrenders. Luke is surprised and pauses his attack. He can see that his hands are up. The crowd are confused at why he is surrendering. Leo is trembling in fear while in his surrendered stance. The boy asks him if this means he wins the match. He nods to signal that he did. The boy does not know how to react as the referee announces his victory. The referee announces the end of the match. Fastener cheers while Swallow smiles. The crowd can't believe the boy's strength and cheer for him. Maya is just relieved it is over. Luke is glad that he has finally ranked up to E rank. Leo laughs at his defeat and comments on finally realizing why Silu is so with the boy. With his skill, the instructor thinks he should rank even higher and regrets that their system would not allow it. He tells the boy that the Conquest Society would love to have him once he graduates. A figure suddenly enters the ring. Leo is shocked by this figure's sudden appearance. So is the crowd, who recognizes the person. They realize the woman with horns on her head and carrying a giant axe as Sally, the second in command of the Conquest Society. Luke is intrigued that she is the second in command. The woman wants to hold off the test results, saying that he doubts that his magic is the real deal. She announces that she wants to face him herself as a matter of pride for the Conquest Society. The leaders of the stake pullers Luke met in his first job are in the forest, sprinting as fast as they can. They are ashamed of themselves that they are late for Luke's rank-up exam. The pause as they spot something off. In the distance, there is a giant army of monsters of the wolf, bats, insects, dragons, and many other kinds, all stampeding in a direction. They scream at the unbelievable scene. Both of them hide before they are seen. They see that they are heading to the arena exam hall. Meanwhile, back inside the arena, Sally has entered the ring. Luke asks her if she wants to fight him. She confirms that she does, declaring that she is suspicious of how powerful he is for someone of his rank. She believes he is hiding some kind of tool that amplifies his power and wants to witness it with her own eyes. She challenges him. The boy is frustrated since all he did was unleash his natural strength. He ponders the situation. He determines that he can't move up the ranks if he is under suspicion, and that the best course of action is to prove he is the real deal. He says he understands and agrees to a fight. The audience is surprised by his overconfidence. They yell at him for being an idiot who thinks he can win against the number 2 of the Conqueror's Society just because he got lucky and beat the instructor. They all think he should learn his place, and they cheer for Sally to teach him a lesson. The referee approaches the center. She asks the 2 players if both of them agree to fight. Both players go face to face. The referee announces the match to determine Luke's rank. She raises her hand and begins the match. Luke and Sally suddenly sense danger. They feel like something big is coming towards the arena. The stampede of monsters suddenly breaks through a wing of the arena. The crowd screams at the sight of them. They go into chaos, trying to get away from them. A night messenger runs toward the ring and reports to Sally that the monsters came from the nearest labyrinth. The messenger stops speaking mid-sentence. He sees that the swarm of bats is heading right at him. Leo tries to cast a spell towards the bats, but he knows it won't make it on time. Sally readies her weapon. Seeing this, Silu warns the crowd to brace for impact. With a slash, the woman slays every bat, destroying many empty audience section seats in the process. Many of the audience members are shocked to see how strong she is. Sally lets down her weapon. She tells everyone that there is no need to panic as long as she is with them. She orders all skilled conquerors to protect the people, fend off the beasts, and escort everyone to safety. She also tells the citizens to follow Swallow and Leo's lead. The citizens calm themselves upon hearing her orders and decide to follow. Leo starts his attack on the monster, slashing every beast he sees with his great sword. Thanks to him, a path gets open for the others to go through. Swallow also does his part by telling many to follow him. The citizens feel more secure with so many high-ranking conquerors with them. Meanwhile, other conquerors make their charge towards the monsters. They do not notice that Luke is about to fire a spell at the creatures from the ring. He slays the monsters before any of the conquerors can even get near them. Meanwhile, Fafnir is casting fireballs at wolf monsters. He is proud of himself that he managed to hit some. He acknowledges that he is having a hard time with the monster's speed. Despite this, he is determined to continue so he can protect the others around him who can't fight. One of the wolves he thought was dead gets back up. It attacks his female fans. He puts himself in front of the wolf to protect them. Silua suddenly appears to cut the wolf in two, much to the shock of Fafnir and the girl. The savior advises Fafnir to always make sure his opponents are dead and not to sacrifice himself so easily. However, he also tells him that he is proud to see him doing everything he can to protect people. Here starts Fafnir's man-crush on the Conqueror. Meanwhile, the second wave of monsters can already be seen from the distant view. Sally estimates that there are roughly 30,000 of them. She looks around the arena and sees that they managed to evacuate most of the civilians. She orders Silua to handle the remaining foes, orders Luke to make a run for it, and tells them that she will take down the monsters outside. Silua thinks even she will have a hard time fighting that many monsters. Sally tells him not to underestimate her. She smiles and then constricts her body. Luke watches on, confused at what she is doing. Her body then glows with energy. Her entire body becomes full of veins and strengthened to her fullest potential. She declares that nothing can defeat her, no matter how many they are. She runs so fast that she instantly gets to the distant monsters and leaves a trail of destruction in her wake. She runs so fast, she gets to the third wave within seconds. Then she continues annihilating them. Both Luke and Silua think she is unbelievable. Luke sees the only creatures left behind the arena are the swarm of monsters aside from him and Silua. He asks Silua if he can now sweep the place. Just as Silua is about to ask what he means, the boy casts a spell. It turns out to be so powerful, it envelops the entire arena in light that destroys every monster. Sally looks back and is shocked to see a blast of light. Back inside the arena, every monster has turned to dust. Silua is shocked to learn that Luke is even more powerful than he expected. The boy tells Silua they need to chase after Sally. Swallow, Leo, and the audience members they protected have just arrived at Lunark City. The citizens see them coming. They wonder why a line of people are following the battered Swallow and Leo. They ask the two conquerors what is happening. Swallow tells them about the horde of monsters that stampede to the arena test site. The people become scared. Swallow also tells them that since the city is near the arena, Lunark is bound to be attacked any minute now. The more they hear, the more they are terrified. To calm them, Swallow also tells them that Sally and Silua are with Luke right now, fending off the monsters as they speak. He believes that they have the combined power to decimate the majority of those monsters. Some are confused about why they are relying on Luke the Reaper. They criticize their decision, stating that the boy would just be a burden to Sally and Silua. They feel like relying on the Reaper would only lead to their doom. Guild Master Harrigan and Aaron appear to appease their worries. Aaron tells them that Luke has been conquering labyrinths all by himself and is more than capable of defending the city. Maya also follows up that based on her evaluation, Luke has immense magical power. Fafnir tells them not to badmouth a person fighting for their sake. He sees that the one most vocal has a sword and realizes he's a conqueror too. He tells the humiliated fellow that he has no right to speak ill to those risking their lives when he is doing nothing. Harrigan declares he will be fighting too if it comes to it, only for his cool moment to be ruined by his sudden back pain. The people look at each other, not knowing what to think. Fafnir, Aaron, and Maya stare down at the conqueror's vocal about Luke. Harrigan sees how tense everyone is, so he tells everyone they have a plan. He orders all conquerors to stay behind to protect the city and wait for reinforcement from nearby towns, while they also evacuate the citizens in the meantime. He elaborates that if the 3 remaining conquerors in the exam site manage to hold off the monsters, they can escort everyone away to a new location. He orders Aaron to follow the emergency manual and work with the guild to evacuate the citizens. He then asks Swallow and Leo for a private talk. Harrigan speaks honestly with them by admitting that there are no high-ranking conquerors in the city right now because they are all out exploring labyrinths. He wants to know what they think of the situation. The two do not look very confident. Leo thinks the sheer number of the monsters means Lunark is destined to fall. Swallow completely agrees with him and even thinks they won't last a single day. The guild master asks if it is really that serious. He hopes that Sally will be the game changer. Liev does not think so, since her berserker mode will eventually take a toll on her, making a prolonged battle against a horde impossible for her to overcome. Instead of wallowing in despair, the three men decide to focus on preparing for the evacuation. Meanwhile, the citizens are losing hope. An old lady cries in front of her grandson, mourning for her city. One mother tries to be brave for her crying baby. One girl sees how everyone is planning to leave. She gets overwhelmed by all the voices. She breaks down and cries, begging not to die. She screams for someone to help. Meanwhile, Luke and Silu are rushing towards the monsters to help Sally ward them off. The woman is still continuing her attack. She can't believe that more monsters are still pouring in. She then feels the pain in her body slowly coming. In a flash, her entire body gets engulfed in pain. She knows that if she turns off her enhancement magic, she won't be able to hold back the monsters. She imagines all the innocent lives that will be lost. He fears the outcome of her failure so much that she refuses to turn off her enhancement and promises to protect Lunark even if it costs her her life. Meanwhile, Luke and Silu are still running. They see that monster corpses are everywhere. Then they finally see Sally in front of the horde. The woman's body is all battered up from her enhancement magic. She tells herself that there is still one final move in her to deal a crushing blow to the monster forces. She charges up her magic with a mischievous smile. She then unleashes a huge energy beam. It is so powerful it destroys every monster in her sights. She is so exhausted she is about to collapse. She is shocked to see that more monsters pour out from behind the bodies of their dead. She realizes they protected themselves from the blast by using the others as a shield. One wolf is about to get to her. Luke suddenly appears to transform the wolf into dust. Sally is surprised he came. The boy asks her if there are any people or towns beyond the mountains, so she replies that there are none. It relieves Luke, who says he is now free to let loose. Sally tells him that his only option as an F-rank conqueror is to run. He is concentrating so much on his spell that he is not paying attention to her. Just by charging up his power, a tornado appears, sucking in monsters. He then unleashes an energy blast, annihilating all of the monsters in its path. Sally and Silu look in awe. The beams still continue to flow. The blast is so powerful that the ground trembles even in Lunark City. To Swallow and the others use, there is smoke in the sky like a volcano just erupted. Swallow then realizes the power can only mean Luke is behind it. He orders a messenger to find out what happened. Several hours later, the mountain path is now completely empty of monsters. Silu is impressed by the outcome. He tells Sally he expected nothing less from her and Luke. Sally admits that Luke is in another league altogether from her. She reports that with the monsters gone, Lunark City is now safe, and that there is an investigation happening to know where the monsters came from. Silu asks Sally how Luke's exam went. She thinks about it and says she does not doubt the results. It is revealed that they are in front of a large chasm created by Luke's spell, and she declares that he is a great sorcerer. She admits that there is no way he used tricks to pull it off. She feels ashamed to not realize that the boy was not even scratching the surface of his power during the mock battle. Silu is glad that she finally recognizes the boy. Later, Luke returns to his inn. The person in front of him apologizes for something unrevealed.